Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Pikachu, great to have you back. Always good. Hopefully, tonight's going to be a little bit interesting. So, there is a product I've been working on called Velopack. It is an installer technology, and we'll dive into all of that. But the short version is you build your apps, you want people to install them, you want people to use them because an app that doesn't get used is probably not worth building. Like, that's why we write code because we want stuff to happen and we want to share that with other people. So, this is going to be a night of sharing and going through and doing that. Um, just to be clear, this is a product that I am very much involved in and have a stake in. So before people accuse me, yes, I'm a biased opinion. I'm heavily biased. Yes, this directly benefits me. Okay, all disclaimers done. Now we have fun. Okay, so let me remember how to do this. So we'll jump back. I jumped ahead. I'm too far ahead. So starting point, Velopack.io. So let's talk briefly, kind of what this is, where it came about, and we'll do a small history lesson. So if we look at Squirrel Installer, this is a product that I wrote a blog post on. I think I wrote a blog post on using Squirrel like 7 or 8 years ago. It's been a while. The problem being, Squirrel has kind of been hunting for contributors and maintaining this project, and you can kind of see how long they've been hunting for it since 2019. So that's a while. We're going on 5 years now, and you can see there's been a little bit of back and forth, but ultimately it's kind of hung out in a little bit of, I won't say disrepair, like it works. There's still plenty of people using it. But there's a number of issues, a bunch of open PRs, things that ideally you'd like to see cleaned up. Fast forward a little bit, we then get well, hang on, let me search. Cloud Squirrel. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to land. I think the repost's still up and it's just archived. I need to double check. Yes. Okay. So fast forward, person named Kalen decides that he is going to fork Squirrel. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. I don't have my tool running yet. He wants to go ahead and fork Squirrel, and so he goes and creates Cloud Squirrel, which ended up initially being a hey, we're just going to do a fork. We're going to get some of the PRs merged. We're going to fix some of the out of date dependencies, clean some stuff up, that kind of thing, which was great. And Cloud Squirrel was awesome. It was basically a drop in replacement for Squirrel. World got happy. Um, but I went and I had made kind of, I think there was a live stream or two that we did on it where I worked on a project I named Scuridae, which is the scientific name for a squirrel. I thought I was being funny. Turns out, jokes aside, jokes are useful. And so Kaylin had found me because of that work and reached out and said, hey, I'm working on this next kind of major rev of Cloud Squirrel. I really like the Skirday project that you're doing. It brings this kind of cloud infrastructure because Cloud Squirrel gives you kind of an SDK and tooling to do the installers, but not really a hosting solution. And Skirday was providing that hosting solution on top of it. Because some people don't want to deal with like cloud infrastructure and that kind of stuff. It's like, no. I build app, I want to ship app, I don't want to think. And so that was the value add there. But the Skirday product was really around providing a repository that somebody would still have to take and then go and deploy into some sort of cloud infrastructure and maintain, because I didn't want to deal with that because I know what kind of headache that can be. So Kaylin came to me and said, hey, let's do the headache. And I went, that actually sounds pretty cool. So fast forward, that is where Velopack comes from. So Velopack is made up of a bunch of repositories. Now, I'm an admin in here, so I'm going to be showing more repositories than what normal people are going to see. As you can see, private, 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 private. A lot of these are private. Um, but the important part is the Velopack main repository is completely public. This is the SDK. This is the command line tooling. This is if you would like to build yourself a quick and easy installer for anything. I'm going to be showing off C# and WPF. But we have samples in, if I go to the Fusion one, which again, also public. So if anybody, I can just drop links. Um, So if people are interested, there's Rust, there's JavaScript, there's C#, there's C++, right? The idea is this is fairly language agnostic. And if people have other languages that they're interested in, I know we've heard requests for, I believe Swift might be the next most popular language on the chopping block, maybe Go, but so if people are interested, feel free, open an issue. There's a Discord as well. Feel free to post on what things are missing. Obviously, we're trying to get as many as possible, but you want to pick on what's popular first and then work from there. And again, because this is an installer, some things don't make sense, right? If you're building a mobile application, you don't necessarily need this per se, right? The Google and Apple have their solutions for building and deploying apps. You can go into the store, that works. Windows, you have the Windows Store, which works, but if you're trying to build like a cross-platform application with Maui or Avalonia, or one of those frameworks, it helps you for Windows. It doesn't do anything if you want to deploy your Mac app. Velopack is designed to be cross-platform, right? Works on Windows, works on Mac, works on Linux. You're good to go. We're going to show off Windows because I've got Windows. Never used WPF, but my course is currently covering Maui. Oh, good. So you could kind of think, because Maui will allow you to build a Windows application. And it will, for the Windows side of things, what you end up with is a WinUI 3 application, is what Maui is using under the hood. WinUI 3 is Microsoft's latest framework, and it's the one that I think has the best chance of finally being a WPF replacement. Microsoft has tried to replace WPF many times over the years. It hasn't gone well. And so I usually tell people I am cautiously optimistic about WinUI 3. It looks good. It's getting a lot of investment. It's really slick. Microsoft's current recommendation is if you're building a new app, WinUI 3 is the way to go. I don't know about that. But they've also reemphasized their commitment on WPF recently of this is not going away. WPF is still here to stay. We are actively investing in it. There's stuff on their roadmap. It's great. So there's some minor syntactic differences in the XAML, but frankly, if you learn XAML in one of the frameworks, it's not that hard to translate a lot of what you might learn in Maui or WinUI 3 into WPF and vice versa. A lot of it overlaps. The hard parts are the things that look like they should overlap that don't. Those ones trip me up all the time. Like, wait, hang on, reset my brain. Those are the same words, but not the different things. So for tonight, what I was thinking of going through and doing is the material design and XAML project. We have our demo application. And the problem with the demo application is right now, if you go to the releases and you scroll down, you can find the demo app.zip, which is great, and it lets you download it. But in my opinion, people are probably looking for something a little bit easier to acquire, right? I click link, it installs app, I run app, I see demo application, I'm off to the races. I can see how that goes. Now, there's probably a little bit of stuff that I might want to tweak on the demo app, like showing versions and whatnot, because right now it's fairly obvious. If you download this demo app, you're getting the 5.0 version. That's pretty obvious. But if you've got an app that's like updating when you launch it and that kind of thing, which is cool, that's what you want, showing those versions becomes a little bit more important. So we might tweak that there. So we're going to go through and work on pushing this out. And part of this is I haven't necessarily worked through all the documentation that's been written up. So this is kind of me QAing the docs and seeing how easy they are to work with. So if something's not perfect, I'm taking notes and I will fix them because I can do that now. Okay, so getting started, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to just blast through stuff that I think is boring. And people can go through and read more later if they want. So Discord, GitHub, all relevant links and that kind of stuff there. So we are just picking on docs for anybody who wants to play along at home and go through and see this. And then you can see the language support down here. Java, that's the one that was missing me. See, I knew. Oh, and Python, dang. See, I remember these two. I just couldn't remember Java and Python. Minor details. Okay. I feel like there's one missing from this list. Oh, whatever. Regardless. So language stuff, blah, 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 blah. Quick start. That sounds more like me. .NET, that sounds more like me. Okay, so the big idea with Velopack is one, we're going to need a NuGet package. We are going to need something that's Net 5 plus. This probably should be updated because I'm pretty sure Net 5 is long out of support. I need to talk to Caitlin to figure out what our support plan is going to be. My general principle for most of my projects is I will support a version of .NET as long as Microsoft does. So whatever the end of life is for your version of .NET, I'm not going to support it beyond what Microsoft does, because at that point I've lost my Microsoft support and I can't guarantee anything anymore myself. So that's usually where I draw the line. But we'll see. Some of this stuff, like, there's not a lot there that needs like newer language stuff, so it's like, make a big difference. Okay, so add NuGet package, and then setting this up in your main or somewhere very early. The important part here is the Velopack stuff is what is basically bootstrapping your application. So you need to do something preferably near the beginning of your app. And we don't necessarily say it must be main, but if you do it late, you're going to be missing out on a lot of the hooks. So you kind of want to do it as early as possible. And for your language or framework, early as possible can kind of be whatever that means. Okay, so let's start here. I just recently cleaned this up. Oh, I was going to... Somebody remind me to go back and get this PR merged. We're doing so good at clearing out PRs. I don't want to screw it up. Okay, I don't have Karnak running either. Get this guy rocking and rolling. Okay, we'll get this in, and my plan here is we're just going to add Velopack to the demo application inside of Material Design. That's the game plan, because I think that gives us a pretty good example of, hey, if you've got your own application, here's how you might go about doing it. And again, there's different docs for other languages, and if people want to contribute stuff back to the docs, please let me know, because I can't remember if the docs are in a public or private repo. I don't remember. I'll have to look. And the docs are kind of, they've got a couple like cool little React components and whatnot in there. Okay, Visual Studio, compile, build. We recently redid the structure of the Material Design repository. Curious why I still have a yellow triangle here. Oh, Net 6 is unhappy. I don't care about Net 6. Okay, so here's the demo application. Nothing big and fancy, but again, we don't have anything like a version number or anything showing on here, so we might want to embed that. But this is the application that we're looking to start. It's a simple WPF app. You know, it shows you everything that's in the Material Design library, the buttons, the controls, and the styling, and you can click the stuff to see it, and yada yada yada. Right? Its purpose is to be a demo app of the library. Perfect. That's what we're going for. Okay. Oh, good. Net 6 figured itself out. Clean design. Thank you. Yeah, if you haven't used it, it is very nice. I will say, if you're in Maui, you kind of don't need it as much. There's other Material Design libraries out there, though there have been requests to port this up to WinUI 3, which the better WinUI 3 does, the more likely I am to do a port for it. But that's also a significant amount of work. We've taken runs at it a number of times, and it's kind of fallen apart each time. Okay, step 1. Manage NuGet package. We go here, we go Velopack. We grab latest. I will say we are at a 0.0 version number, mostly just as an indication to say, hey, this is kind of active development. However, don't let the version number scare you. This is effectively Cloud Squirrel v Next. So it's not like this is a bare bones, oh, it's not been tested or whatnot. No. There's several apps I've built using Cloud Squirrel, and this is just the next of Cloud Squirrel. So, okay, what are you talking about on updates? Oh, there's an update of the virtualizing wrap panel. Curious why my Dependabot didn't flag this one. Not going to deal with it right now, but I am going to make a note of that I should probably go back and fix it. Okay, so for a WPF application, you oftentimes don't necessarily have a main. Now, you can go through and write a main, but the default behavior of WPF is it's going to generate the main method, but it's then going to invoke your app. So specifically inside of your app.xaml, you have this startup URI, and this is the class that is actually going to do your startup stuff, right? This is where we configure our theming and all of that stuff. So in this case, I'm going to just go into my on startup, right? This is the place where we're actually parsing like the command line. We're going through and we're initializing the XAML display stuff. It's basically startup. Okay, so testing docs, because we can do this. I go copy, I go paste. That works pretty easy. Excellent. Done. Well, we're going to go a little further than that. Okay, next thing we need to decide is how and where we're going to check for updates. Because part of doing this is so that we can actually give the users updates, because we'd like to show them when there's updates and we'd like to do something useful. Now, we're going to just copy this function real quick. So far, the docs are great. Loving them. Okay, so update manager is kind of the key class that does this. And I'm just going to call out, come on, navigate to definition. Go Visual Studio. Yeah. So this URL or path, right? For the purposes of what we're going to do initially, we're going to just make this a local path on my file system. Now, that's obviously going to make the updates work for me, and anyone on my computer, which is not exactly a great use case. We're going to configure this to probably use maybe GitHub releases. We'll get around to that. But we'll start here just to make sure that we have all of this working. So in my case, let's do d:\mdix. Hang on. I know how to write C#. mdix updates. Yeah, we'll do something like that. And second. Okay, we're gonna go here. Make dir d:\mdix updates. Boom. I've got a new update directory. Oh, I am there. Directory is empty. Proof's in the pudding. Okay, great. So that's where we're going to look at for updates. We'll check for updates. If there are updates, we're just going to skip prompting the user. We're going to do what you shouldn't do. We're going to just straight download, because normally in this case, it's going to end up being a file copy. But in reality, you're really only going to use a file path like this if you're like deploying an internal application on a file share or something like that. It's generally, if you're using a local path, it's probably going to be just for some local network. And then we're going to just blindly apply and restart the app without prompting the user whatsoever. That sounds great. Sounds wonderful. Okay. I think we're done. Feels too easy. Nope. We need to do one more thing. So there's some tooling that goes along with this. Now, there is a... Don't think it merged yet. Let me just check. There is a PR. Oh. It is in. Sorry. Being coy for a moment as I think about how we want. Now we'll do this. We'll do this the hard way first. This will be hard mode, and then we'll go back and do easy mode. Okay, so this one. There we go. Okay. So I just clean this directory because I'm noticing I've got a bunch of... Close this, save. Oh, I don't actually want to clean everything, do I? Real quick before I get too carried away. Create branch. Velop Pac. Here we go. I'm gonna commit these things real quick before we get too carried away. Just here, and I can put my big head out of the way so I'm not covering it up. There, we're just gonna do that before anything bad happens. And now we'll clean. Because we reorganized the repository, I've got directories and build artifacts hanging out in places that they shouldn't be. So we're just gonna clean. So for people unfamiliar with this command here, right, git clean dfx. So git clean wipes out things that are not under source control, which is great for cleaning up, say, build artifacts in this case. Dash D means directories. Dash F means force, which says do it now. And dash X means Kevin can't remember what the last one was. Okay. I just remember it's the torch everything command. And now when I look at it, that looks clean. That's that. See all the blue? Less blue. That's how you know it's happy. And if it builds and runs, I will not be blue. Okay. But I also torched my BS directory. So we're going to go here, here, confirm all our stuff is in place. Great. Okay. So we want to go here. We want to go main demo. There we go. Okay. So we are in the main demo directory. Next, according to docs, we need the .NET global tool. So .NET does have a way, if you are building command line apps, to distribute them via NuGet as a global tool, which is what this VPK tool is. Source code for it in that same repository. So the -G in .NET tool update is saying install globally, which just says put it on my machine. Don't tie it to a single repo or a single directory. Put it there for me. So we will do that. Thinking. Huzzah. And now you say we can do VPK. And we're off to the races. And for people who think that this looks somewhat familiar, the VPK tooling is using system command line. So for anybody who didn't see last week's stream, practical application. Okay, so we've got that. Now, next thing we need to do is we need to take our demo application and produce an output. So for WPF or a lot of .NET applications, this ends up being the .NET publish command. We can almost just blindly, I think we can just blindly take this command wholesale. Because this says, give me a self-contained application, which means everything it needs to run is going to be in that output directory. Do it in release mode. We're going to target Windows x64. Great. Because really at this point, you really only have Windows 64-bit and ARM, I think, are the only two prevalent ones. I'm sure somebody's got a 32-bit system floating around. And then for our output directory, we'll just make a publish directory and put it there. Great. Sounds good. Send it. Oh, and in my case, I am targeting multiple frameworks, so I have to specify when I'm compiling which one of these I want. And I think you specify the framework with -F. Tell me. Publish target without specifying a target framework. It'd be really nice if you told me which. I think it's -F for the. If not, we'll try again. I only remembered the -F because in a lot of command line applications, -F is for force. And I remember thinking, .NET, why is -F not force? I mean, there isn't really a force type option on there. Okay, so we have produced a thing. If I ls into my, let's see, my publish directory, we can see that I have a whole bunch of files there. And more importantly, you can see there's my demo application, but you'll also notice like I have everything here, right? This has, but because it's self-contained, it comes with MS Core Lib, .NET or presentation framework for WPF, all the system assemblies. This project's a little big, right? Because the idea with self-contained is I don't want to assume that the target system has Windows 8 runtime ready to go. I'm going to bring Windows 8 runtime with me, right? So I will be bigger rather than needing it to be bigger. So it bundles up everything that it needs to run. And then just to make sure that it works, if we do, let's see, publish, what was the exe called? Already forgotten. Hero Design demo. Hero Design. Should be able to run it. Huzzah, application works. Great. Okay, we have produced a thing. Now we want to take this whole directory of stuff, our output artifacts, and we would like to make it into an installer. Okay, so we're going to take this We're going to grab it. We're going to do this. And we need to give our apps an ID. So when you do an installer, every application on your system has a unique identifier. So you want to pick an identifier that isn't going to collide with some other installed application, especially if you're building a cross-platform application. Things like Mac are going to be much more strict about this than some of the stuff on Windows. Then we have to give it a version, and then we have to tell it what directory actually contains all of our stuff that we just produced. And then finally, we're just going to give it the executable name that we want our effectively our setup exe to be called. We're going to come over here, and in this case, I think I'm going to call it material design in XAML demo. I think I like that. Is that a good one? I think that's a good one. Okay. Next, we're going to call it MDIX setup. That seems good. Okay, send it. Let's see. What did we do wrong? Could not find main application. The one that runs oh, because got it. I can't call it MDIX setup. I need to call this I need to tell it the application name, which is this guy. I'm going to copy it because I am way too lazy. Because it needs that to verify where the hooks are located. Let's see. Please ensure it's present in program.c. Oh, it's actually checking for program main. Oh, that's interesting. Wonder why it's being so picky about that. Because it's actually cracking it open and looking for the main method. Okay, let's go. Note taking time. Note taking time. Why does VPK need startup in? Okay, and I realize like we don't want VPK just searching the entire assembly for any invocation, but it feels weird. Feels weird. Gonna leave a note. Want to at least dig into the why, because I don't know the why. But what we can do here is we can come in and problem build. Oh, it's probably because it's clean. We can compile this guy up, and we will go slap a main in, I think. If we go to my templates, shameless plug. So if you're starting a new WPF application, I highly recommend coming in here and doing .NET New and using my template. It makes getting a new application set up so much easier. Plus, it comes with a main method already ready to go. Why I'm here, because I'm just going to blatantly steal my own code. Not stealing if you steal from yourself. Okay, what did I do wrong in here that has made you so unhappy? Could not find MS Core lib. What is your problem? Rebuild. It's like the publish has messed up Visual Studio and it's lost its mind. Not a Velopack problem. This is a Visual Studio problem. Cycling his efficiency. Exactly. Okay. Program with more than one entry point. See, that's the appropriate error that we're supposed to get. Okay. So it's unhappy about that. Gonna do this. We're just gonna slowly bring in some little things that I like. We're gonna come in here. We don't need this. Don't need any of this. Don't need any of this. Actually, we don't even need main async. We can just come up here and do this here. Boom. Okay. So do that. And then this guy gets to go live up here. There. Ignore the big red scary thingies. We'll deal with those in a moment. And then The other thing we need to change is our XAML, because right now it's set to autogen a main method, and we would like to tell it no. Oh, those are fine. Is it the guest project that turns it off? And I need that, and I need this. I think are the two key changes to tell WPF, please don't generate me a main method. I'm gonna do it myself, darn it. Got a lot of stuff in here. Double checking everything that's. Oh, it's because of all of our multi-targeting stuff that makes it complicated and ugly. Okay. That off, turn that off. And I will say this, for anybody looking at the demo application, it is an application that is designed to make or to show off the breadth of what is possible with this library. It is not designed to say, hey, copy everything out of it, because when showing the breadth of the library, it shows a lot of different patterns and ways of doing things. You should probably not do all the possible ways. You should pick the ways that align with your application and only do those. Don't grab them all, because the demo application is very much a blending pot of every possible way you can do it. Generally, you shouldn't do it every possible way. There should be like one or two ways you do. So like if you're going MVVM with data binding, do that. Don't necessarily set up your UI and the code behind. Like you'll see the demo application do both, and it's typically fine to do both, but you don't want to be doing them all. Okay, what is your problem? Oh, could not find. Well, that's because that's not the right startup object, you dummy. Okay, so pro tip: when you tell it the startup object, actually tell it the real startup object, not the dumb one, because that doesn't work real well. Ooh, little bell notification. Oh, Visual Studio Update Preview 6 must install update. Okay, why have you lost your mind for build stuff? Well, I'm just going to kill you, Visual Studio, for the moment. We're going to go in here, and we're going to go here, and we're just going to blow away your bin and OBJ because you've clearly lost your mind. I'm guessing that publishing self-contained has made it go crazy. Oh, look, you happier now, Visual Studio? You happy? I wonder, it could also be picking up the publish directory. It should know to exclude everything. Oh, I bet you it is picking up the publish directory. Oh, that's an interesting problem. Bet you we ditch this and it becomes much happier. We might change our command a little bit to publish outside here, because the default SDK project, yeah, it's picking up extra stuff in the publish directory. That's what's confusing it. Oh, okay. So we're gonna change our command a little bit. Fine, fine. Okay, let's back up. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Okay, .NET publish, and we're going to go. We're gonna go up a directory. Yeah, let's go up. Let's see, because that gets me to source. That source.publish will be fine, because that'll be outside the project directory. That'll get me up to there. I just need to remember on the next command to do it in the same spot. Okay, and then we need to just go up a directory. Run. Take a note. Publish directory in project directory. I may go through and change that documentation a little bit, because I don't want people getting tripped up by that. So important thing here, you'll note we are completely skipping on signing. There are a bunch of parameters available for signing your application. If you don't know what that means, it's the difference between getting the little Windows prompt saying, "Hey, unknown author," and getting a, "Hey, this author would like to, make changes to your computer." That's the difference with signing. There is some cool stuff coming with signing in Velopack. Hopefully, our hosted service takes care of that for you. That's the goal. Okay, now inside of here, oh, did it probably put it up in publish directory? Publish. Now, if I remember, where did it go? Where did it go? Where is my installer now? Put it. A little unhappy it doesn't tell me where it put it. Oh, no, it didn't put it up here. It put it in a releases folder. If I look here, yeah, put it right there. That's what it did. Okay. Next question. Should releases always be under present working directory? See? Small question, small question. Okay, so let's back up. CD main demo. That one. Okay, CD release. Okay, so what did we get inside of here? So there's a few things we got. One, we got a NuGet package. The only reason Velopack uses a NuGet package is because a NuGet package is just a zip file with a well-defined manifest that contains, all the metadata about the stuff inside of it. That's it. It doesn't have to be a NuGet package. It could be any other zip file, and we'd be perfectly happy. It's just there was nice tooling and whatnot built around parsing the manifest from a NuGet package and whatnot. It was like, that works. Plus, that's what Squirrel did, and this was based on Squirrel. So, huzzah. Next, you'll note that you get a portable installer. So this is if you're doing like an Xcopy deploy or Linux-based stuff where some of the installer things don't matter. There's a zip file. Most importantly, you have a setup exe. This setup exe, and you'll note it's quite large, right? This setup exe has everything. It has the app bundled inside of it, as well as a bootstrapper installer ready to rock and roll. You'll note now there are a couple additional JSON files sitting in here. So let's just pop VS Code open real quick. We can look at these. And that is E tiny font. That's E big font. That's better. So, first of all, there's this file here. If you are not migrating away from Squirrel, just disregard this file. Right? This file is only here for the purposes of helping people migrate away from Squirrel onto Velopack. That's it. Right? This is the old school, what people would call the release manifest. It just lists out all your releases. This is the new one. Flat file, space separated, didn't allow for a lot of expansion. New version, JSON, allows for some expansion, right? Which is great. And you'll note a lot of this data is going to look real similar, right? Hash ending in CCC447, CCC447, huzzah, right? The same file hashes. So when Velopack goes to get an update, what it's going to do is it's going to look into your update source and pull this manifest and say, hey, do you have an update for me? I know my current version, and then it does the comparison to figure out, oh, do I pull this update or not? If you host your installer on any hosting service that can return back a JSON file, it works. That's it. As long as it puts the files at the relative paths that are expected, you're good to go. Good to go, right? And then these are just the asset manifests calling out which files there are. So what we are going to do is I am going to blindly explore, period. So you can imagine doing this on a build server or similar. I'm going to copy all, and I'm going to figure out where the heck my... do this over here real quick since I don't know where I'm going. Don't remember what's there, so we're just going to hold for one moment while I remember how to use a computer. Great. Okay, so copy, paste. That's it. And now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to double click on our setup. Oh, oh, good. I got it over. I don't know if you saw little dialogue, tiny progress bar. It goes fast. Sometimes you don't even get to see it. It goes so fast. But this thing's at least big enough. You know, we've got 78 meg worth of stuff. But now I have an installed application, right? If I open up and look at my setup, I've got, oh, how do I do this? Here, do this, do this. My start menu is on a different monitor. Just screenshot it and show it. But I now get shortcuts created for me. I have an installed application, material design in XAML.demo. That is a real thing, right? I am installed. If I go add remove programs, move this to the right for a second because I don't remember what all I have. Make sure I'm not accidentally exposing somebody else's app that I shouldn't. That's fine. Right? See this? I am a real installed application. Good. That's how hard it is to do it. And that was the hard way. That was the hard way. Because that like took work and stuff and typing, and we had to run like terminal commands. Okay. Now for easy mode. Now for easy mode. Well, hang on. Let's do an update and just prove how we're actually working. Oh, maybe we should show where this thing actually gets installed too. Let's do that. So if we go here and then material design in XAML demo. Yeah. So if we go looking here, you can see, so in your local app data, what ends up happening is you will find your installed application. So you can see, here's the current running version of my application. Huzzah. Right? And then you can see that it does have the packages here that when it's doing that download for the update, this is where it's downloading to do the update to. And then the update exe is just a little bootstrapper that is designed to look into these directories and start the appropriate application. So that's it. Okay. Now let's pretend we want to go do V2. We have decided V1 is dumb. V2 is going to be better. And rather than deep purple, our favorite color will be, I don't know, cyan. Something obvious, right? Make sure this works. Can't remember how bright this is. Shield your eyes. This might be ugly. Oh, that's not even ugly. Great. Okay, V2 is going to be cyan because that's what's cool now. Okay, we go here. We go up a directory and we turn off caps lock because that's how you get yourself in trouble. We will publish a new version. And you'll note I'm publishing without specifying a version number. We'll probably change that because when you build an application, you should probably build it with a version number. Right? I'm putting a version number on my installer, but that version number on the installer may or may not match my app's version. It probably should match in most cases, but it may not. Right? We come over here, and we're going to do VPK, and we're going to do, this was a small change, so we'll do 101. Right? And then we're going to go ahead and launch. And it's important here that you have your prior version in your published directory. And I'll show you why here in just a second. It's going to do its thing. Well, this is much easier when you know what you're doing. Boy, that's a lot of flashing. I may have to go and look at this because this is using Inspector console to do these kind of cool progress bars, but I think we're probably triggering updates more often than we should. Like, for example, these top ones are flashing for me. I don't know if that's coming through on stream or not, but it's like we're repainting the whole thing when we probably shouldn't. Oh, because it turns out terminals don't make great GUIs. Who would have thought? Right? Okay, so we go back and look at VS Code. You'll note I've got a couple things here. Right? I've once again got my manifest file, but I have two 2 entries, not just one. And you'll note there's a full version and a Delta version. And you'll note the Delta version of my application is 178K versus 80 meg. That is a very big difference, right? So, was visible on stream. Oh, thank you. Yeah, might go into I don't think it's Spectre's fault. I suspect we're just posting too many updates, and we should probably only paint the update if there's a change. But the Delta updates will be far more efficient. So if somebody's just doing an upgrade from version 1.0 to 101, they don't need the full package to download. They only really need what was changed. And quite often, you aren't changing all your assemblies, because in that publish directory, there's a whole bunch of assemblies, most of which are just like the .NET stuff, not things I'm going to change. They're going to basically be static. And so you can get these Delta packages itty bitty. And so when the updates occur, the download gets really small when all you have to do is Delta packages, right? Now, I'm going to take our running application and I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to relaunch my running application. You're just going to have to trust me. Okay, and this guy launched, and I don't know, we didn't really give ourselves a good way of checking this. Oh, actually, we launched it, but I just realized something. We added an update method, then we never actually invoke it anywhere. We should actually call this method, because it's not going to do anything if we don't call it. That was dumb. That was dumb of me. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Put this change back for a moment, because we want to see the color change. And then let's do async void, and then and you really shouldn't do async void stuff, but we're going to do this for now because this is update my app, right? And actually, we're going to put this after the base startup. That way, normally you would want to put some sort of like notification for a user, like, hey, there's a new update available. Maybe go use it. Maybe not. We also may want to not do this when we're just debugging. Yeah, we might just slap that in a pound if debug for the moment. Just to make our life a little easier. Okay, that way I don't have to fight with it. Okay. Bippity boppity booyah. Okay, so we're going to republish. Because I never copied the 1.0 one out, I can get away with this. And so I can just basically repack over the top. Velop Pac is concerned that I'm doing that, and yes, I'm confident. Do overwrite the file, darn it. I didn't publish it. Because if you don't take the 1.0 version anywhere and push it out, it doesn't hurt to overwrite. Especially if you're testing locally. If you published it somewhere and somebody got their hands on it and has that version installed, well, probably don't do this, because you're going to end up making your life much more difficult. And see here, it's looking at whatever the prior version is and genning the Delta package for it. Okay, so we're going to go, here's my output directory. Okay, so I want to grab, let's see, I want to grab my Delta packages. We can grab portable setup. So your setup exe is changing every time as well. And actually, it looks like I really just want to grab everything but this. Yeah. And again, I don't actually need to copy this guy because he's not being used by anything but the migration stuff. And then we're going to go here, paste, place, and then we'll just rerun our setup. And I'm going to close the app because it's running. So I double click the setup exe, and here we can just do that again. Opening on that screen. You can see, oh, you're currently on version 1.0. Would you like to upgrade to 1.0? Yes, I would, please. Then, oh, I got it over before the progress bar finished. Boom. Then it launches. Okay. Now, I want the color change to happen. This is important. Is it really important? No, but it's important to me. Therefore, it's important. Okay, so now we're going to pretend like what I said before. We are going to publish out the new version with the cool new color, because that's the coolness. Yeah. I know you're unhappy. Async math, it lacks. What did I do wrong? See what it was yelling at me for. Oh, it's probably because because in release mode that is it. That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. Oh, I'm an idiot. This is pound if debug. You know what? Screw it. We're just gonna leave it there. Okay. One more time. This time with feeling, and without getting my if conditions backwards. Okay. Gonna do this for simplicity's sake, and then fire it off. Come on. Publish. And honestly, what I really could have done is pointed my update directory to the releases directory that this thing's publishing into, rather than making it a completely separate directory, and save myself a copy and paste. But little late now. Little late now. Let's see. Releases. Okay. So date modified. I only care about stuff that's changing. Boom. Let's see. I only care about that stuff. So you see, each step of the way, you really only care about the new stuff that's generated. The old stuff can kind of just be ignored. And for the purposes of generating deltas, you only need the previous version there to generate the delta again. You don't need all prior ones. Okay. There's that. We're going to fire that up to put 102 in there. Update. Oh, getting quick at that. Okay. Launch. Huzzah. Right now, okay. I want the auto update to demonstrate, because me clicking the installer is not exciting. Okay, because Cayenne has ruined me. We're gonna make this something that makes me happier. We'll go with pink, and rather than lime, we will do blue. There, that will be the happy colors, for reasons that I'm sure are important. Okay, and then this I've just decreed is going to be a 2.0 version, because darn it, spent enough time trying to get the updater to work. Do your thing, do your thing, make the installer. Then we'll go show doing this without having to make the installer. That way we can do it in one fell swoop. So you can see here, building the delta from 102 to 2.0. Those are the only ones it cares about. Come here. Nope. That's not the releases folder. That's here. And we're going to grab from here down to here. Copy. Paste. Place. Now, I am not going to click the setup exe. I love pink. Ah ha ha. Perfect. Well, all for you, Pikachu. Okay, so I am going to launch the demo application from its shortcut. And then hopefully what will happen is it will find the update, auto trigger, pull it down, and restart. There it goes. But found the update, pulled it down, and then restarting for me. Not going to restart nicely for me. And I did do a hard shutdown. There's the gold. Now, you should probably not terminate your user's applications blindly and restart them. You should probably put some code somewhere in this vicinity that like prompts your users and says, "Hey, like new version available. Hey, would you like to restart and apply the update?" Those types of interactions are a little better, right? Like, don't just blindly run through all 3 steps, right? Maybe don't do that. Maybe like actually like put code in. But that's all it takes to get going with Velopack. That's it. Like itty bitty little bit of code, itty bitty little code, and you're off to the races. Okay, let's make it more interesting. Let's make it more interesting. Is there a way to show a notification before killing it? Yes, 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 absolutely. So inside of this library, I would probably be looking to pop, like if I start this guy up, um, there's a little toast notification that comes up. I would probably be in favor of like a little toast at the bottom, which is not installed. Yeah, see, this is the problem with also leaving it here. Oh yeah, answer before I can even ask. I believe we should also do uh is installed. If not installed, right? So we should probably do this. This is I'm going to add this to my notes as well. We should probably have this in our sample code because the other code is fine, but you obviously can't do a check for updates if you're not running as an installed application. Like that's you should this type of check is important because if you're not installed, how do you know what an update is? But yes, yeah, some sort of like either the toast notification or probably even like a little alert bar up here with a install updates thing. Um, we may play around with updating the demo app to add that kind of functionality in. I'm gonna get the installer bits working first, and then we'll go from there. We'll go from there. We'll add more as we go. Okay, so next thing I want to show. Now, I'm going to emphasize what I'm about to show is preview bits. They may not work. They are not documented. Okay. Oh, is it not even published? Oh, it's not even published yet. Oh, that's so disappointing. Okay, it's not even published. So I'm going to just show it. I'm going to show it over here. I'm going to show it over here. So if we go and powwow on. It's actually in here. Yeah. So there is a project bundled in here called Velopack Build. And this is going to be another NuGet package. If you install this, you will not need to install the regular Velopack library. This one wraps the old one or takes a dependency on the old one. But what this guy here does is he will go through and add in additional steps inside of your .NET publish command, such that I think our sample here shows using. Oh, that's right. I took it out. Because you'll note there's this use local Velopack thing that we kind of slid in here to kind of hide from it. But what it will do is it'll eliminate the need for any of these steps. Instead, when you run .NET Publish, it's going to leverage like the version and whatnot out of your CS proj and apply those instead. It'll also go a step further and even publish it up to our hosted server at some point if you wanted to do that as well. So, but we didn't publish the NuGet package publicly. I thought we had published it and kept it as a preview build. This is what I get for not checking my demos. That's how you know the demos are real and that I didn't not making them up. But that is a thing that's out there. I will also say it is very much under development. So it's fairly stable at this point. I haven't made changes to it in like weeks. So it's probably pretty close to where it's going to land, but it is still very much active development. Because every time we change our back end, I keep fiddling with it and changing things, that kind of stuff. So there's that. And the HMAC for the API key support isn't in yet. Why that didn't merge. Wait. Won't stress about that for the moment. Okay, let's go back to docs. Okay, sample apps, integrating, blah 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 blah. Okay, so a couple things worth calling out. There are a handful of hooks that you can grab into here, and then things like setting up shortcuts, because you'll notice that I automatically had like a start menu shortcut and whatnot built out for me. There are the reason why we do that Velopack build is because it also is where we anchor off these various callbacks that you can leverage. So if you want to do something fancy or something custom, right? Because somebody's going to want to do something interesting, right? I don't doubt it. Um, but you can have like a first run hook, right? Because maybe you want to do something when your app first starts up. Set auto apply on startup, so you can automatically and trigger all of those. Because you'll note this auto apply on startup. This other one, it does the download and the apply updates and restart, but that still requires the app to restart, right? So, where's the other one with the callback hooks? Yeah. So, after install fast callback, um, after uninstall, after update. So, any of these with methods in here, if you need to do anything custom, like around installation lifetime, this is your hook, right? To be able to go in and tie into that kind of stuff. So, when you need to know about the lifetime hooks to do something interesting, that's where you can go and do. That's where the docs also call out showing how to do controlling of the shortcuts that get generated. So if you don't want some of them or you want to change them, you're off to the races. Let's see. There are release notes and whatnot, so you can, if you want to do this kind of thing, you can grab the release notes, because when doing the, I'm gonna just do this real quick. So inside of the VPK pack, there are quite a bit of extra things in here that I'm not specifying, right? The splash image to pop up during installation. If you want an icon for your XE, great. Have all of those things bundled in. That way they show up. Um, a lot of these are fairly simple. The channel is probably the most interesting one to be able to set. So you'll note it defaults to Windows because I'm on Windows. Because the idea with channels is there's kind of two dimensions to them. You might want channel, well, might. If you are targeting multiple operating systems, right? Like you might have a Windows channel and you might have like an OS X channel, right? To deploy to OS X and Windows. But within that, you might also want to have like a beta and a prod, right? So you might end up with like win-beta, win-prod. And what this channel ultimately ends up driving is these manifest files. You'll note there's your channel right there, right? As part of this file. Because when it's reaching out to say, hey, do I have any updates? Part of what it's going to be looking for is that channel information to say, hey, I'm looking for the beta manifest. I'm looking for the production manifest, that kind of thing. So this is where you would end up starting to plug that stuff together, especially if you're building a cross-platform application. Yeah. Oh, there's the output directory. So if I didn't want to put it, yeah, yeah. So it defaults to releases under the working directory. Yes, that makes sense. That answers one of my questions. Um, I think the answer is yes. That's probably fine. But worth noting, if you want to be able to go through and pack some of this stuff up, a lot of these things pull the information through, right? So you want to specify author, title, all that kind of stuff. That all gets bundled into the installer. You can also do. You can see here that there's additional hidden options and whatnot for like the Delta packages if you want to get really fancy with them. This is one of the areas where the Squirrel installer kind of is lacking in its updates. Is the Delta generation occasionally fails with it. It gets very confused because you can imagine trying to figure out how to do deltas on a binary file is not trivial. Which is why you see that there's these different options here for best size, best speed, to be able to actually know how to put those things together, right? So best size, smaller, uh, but you're going to spend more time generating it versus best speed, gen fast. We'll sacrifice a little bit of disk space in exchange for speed. So it's which is more critical to you. Yeah, those are all the interesting ones. Look here. So the other thing I'm going to point out. So the VPK app, you'll note we've been playing around with the pack command, but you'll also note that there is download commands, upload commands, and delta commands. Right? The download and the upload are the most interesting. Beyond pack, obviously. Let's look at upload. Upload and download basically mirror each other, so just assume that I'm about to show you everything. So you'll note there's a handful of kind of bundled in providers of where you can host these things out there, because the most common ones, one, that people build stuff on GitHub, right? Everything lives on GitHub. So GitHub or S3 buckets. And I will mention that on the distributing, because Kaylin did a good job calling this out. Where is the code signing distributing? There was a line that he had in here around the updates for it's such a good job writing these docs, and I don't remember where I saw it when I was looking at it before. There was a specific call out for when uploading. I could have sworn it was in the overview, but maybe I'm misremembering something. When it's saying S3 and you're publishing it out, even though everybody associates S3 buckets with Amazon, there are quite a few providers out there, not you, Microsoft, at least not out of the box, that provide an S3 interface into their storage. Like Backblaze is an example of a third party that offers storage, and they offer you an S3 API to go up through it. So when you're looking at this and it says S3, don't just assume that this means Amazon always. It could be anyone that offers an S3 API. And in fact, there are third parties for Azure that will offer you an S3 API over like an Azure storage account. So if you wanted to abuse an S3 bucket and you were in Azure, you can get that even though Microsoft doesn't give it to you out of the box, it is an option, which I'm kind of wondering why they don't. It feels like that would make it easier for people to switch. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, okay. So upload GitHub. Right? And so we can go through here. Let's see. Output directory, repo URL. So this is where we end up pushing things up. And then this is where we're going to end up needing a token to publish. But what this will do is this will actually create a release out on the repository that will hold all of those files that we need. Right, so it's going to hold the JSON manifest. It's going to hold the updated release package, and then we can create it as a pre-release on there or similar, or allow merging this upload with an existing release. Right, so if there's an existing one out there, we're going to add stuff into it rather than overwriting it for what it's going to be. So the idea here is if we're going to push this out as part of the material design library, we can actually use Velopack rather than just shoving up a zip file as an artifact here. We can actually publish an installer that one you could download and launch. And then once you have it downloaded and launched, we can actually hit GitHub to check for the updates and basically use them as a cloud hosting provider. Now, if you have an insanely popular project, you will probably hit resource limits. Like GitHub does have limits around how much something can pound on its API to pull down data. For your average homebrew project, you'll be more than fine, right? Like you don't usually hit rate limiting with GitHub. That's not likely. If you have like thousands of users, okay, maybe you might want to look at hosting it somewhere other than GitHub. If you're an open source library like this who gets maybe 1,000 hits a month, yeah, we're gonna be just fine. We're just fine. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is we go through and push this. Maybe questions. We focus on the distributing side of things and publish into GitHub, or should we update the demo application so that it has things like version and like update notifications and that kind of thing? Sounds more interesting. Do you want to see like infrastructure and publish out to GitHub? Short version, it's going to look a whole heck of a lot like VPK upload GitHub, but actually getting that plugged together. We can build that. Not that terrible to do. Or we can focus on doing it slightly differently. Because I'm thinking what might be nice is to actually have pre-releases of the update package out there all the way through. Because then the only change that we have to do in code once we're out there is this update manager URL is no longer going to point at D : here. Me and my 3 old friends on our way to storm the GitHub. I love it. I love it. Tell them I said hi. Oh, wait. No, that's not the right line. Have fun storming the castle. That, I believe, is the appropriate one. Yeah, let's update the app internally to have a little bit better support so that this doesn't completely suck every time we go through and do this. I think that'll be a little bit nicer. Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna put this here. This is gonna go this here. And then let's see. So what sort of UX makes the most sense? If I do a snack bar, I kind of have to keep the snack bar up until it's interacted with, and we kind of already have that initial snack bar here, right? But I'm wondering if maybe I should change it from welcome to material design in XAML toolkit to also say version blah, and then update available, or if I should put it up here with a little alert. We've got the little badges, right? I think we show them under button. Yeah, like these little guys here in the corner. The coloring looks kind of dumb, but I'm kind of wondering about maybe doing something like this because it's not hard to slap a little badge on there, right? You literally just wrap it in a badge and give it some coloring and you're off to the races. I almost like the idea of a badge up here in the corner. That way it's not tied to the home screen. That way if somebody is like, because the demo app actually supports command line arguments. And so if you pass it the name of one of these sections, you skip the home screen. So maybe having it up on the title bar with a badge makes the most sense. And then we'll add a little, install update or something on the menu. I think that goes there. Okay, let's go. Let's go and add that in. That doesn't seem. Okay, so what we want to do instead is rather than doing this update check stuff here, we want to move this to our main window view model because that's what's actually going to end up controlling this stuff. Let's collapse all this up. Let's see. I don't know. Go there for the moment. Okay. And then boy, I kind of want to kill this view model base and just use the material or the community toolkit. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Let's do public bool has update available. Naming's hard. Naming's hard. Copilot, that's not right. Try again. Here's it, Copilot. I want to do that. Thank you. What's the next line, Copilot? Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Copilot. You're so helpful. Okay. And if people are interested, I am actually going to be giving a talk on leveraging Copilot at one of my clients coming up sometime in the next like 3 weeks. So one of these streams, I might subject you to being my practice guinea pigs for a Copilot talk of going through and showing it off. So that way I can practice and have a recording I can reference. Because the best thing to do is have a recording that you can cite as reference material. So I think they figured out that I enjoy citing myself, and they've told me that that's cheating, which I completely agree with and fully endorse cheating. Um, Not cheating if you're stealing. Okay, so main window, we want to go and find that little bar. So that's our left drawer content. Okay, so here's our main color zone. So that's the colored bar along the top, right? And then we've got a dock panel, and then that stack panel goes there. This is the pop-up box that is on the right. And this is the text block that is in the middle. Surprised this one here gets away with. I don't like that this thing's not specifying its dock panel dock. Like, it's dock panel dock default must be left. Yeah, it default is. That's why it's getting away with it. Ugh, I do not like that. We're going to specify it. Okay, and then we want to put a badge on this guy. So, material design. There we go. Badged. There we go. Boom. We wrap you up in a nice little pretty badge. And then we need to specify some content for the badge. What was the... Only I had a demo application to show me how to do this. Let's see here. So that is if we just set it to a string, but I want to use an icon. Oh, so I can literally just set it. Okay. Literally just set it to a pack icon. Okay. So it turns out, as long as you're not an idiot, it's pretty easy. And then, let's see. Is there a nice... Find an icon. We'll find an icon. I need an icon. I need an icon. And what do we got if I search something like update? I don't like... I like this for like the menu icon. I'm thinking we're going to have a menu icon in here that's like install update. So I like this icon there. What happens if I search I? Yeah, because I kind of like do a little bell thing and make it obnoxiously colored. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of a bell. Let's do that. Copy, and then let's actually nest this because I think what we're going to do is find badged. Boom. Because I think what we're going to end up doing is changing this guy up. Oh. Not how you specify property. That's how you specify a property. Okay. Because I think we're going to end up wanting to, because we want to show hide this based upon that Boolean. So we're just going to blind show it for the moment. And then we'll toggle it automatically. That way when there's updates available. Type namespace, what I do wrong. I copy. Wondering if I cut too many things out. Well, I copied, I didn't cut. Cut. There. There. That's better. Because what we'll end up doing is we'll set it based upon this little guy. Oh, but my efforts to hide all the things, I have now slammed it all the way over. Oh, because what I did is this thing had a dock panel, and then I wrapped it in something that isn't based on the dock panel. There, go to the right. There you go. doesn't seem bad. I'm thinking what we do though is we set a foreground on this guy. And then dynamic resource, material. Oh, I don't remember the name of my new brushes. Oh, wait. I updated the docs. Use the docs. I remember these things. Brush name. There we go. And I want secondary. An icon, not text. I'm not going to use the foreground. Do that. Problem. E cannot be empty. Yeah. Shut up. Trust me. Trust me. This way, as somebody changes the theme color, yeah, it may be ugly, but it's a useful ugly. Not horrible. Not horrible. I'm wondering if I can't remember. Does the badge support switching the direction? Badge placement mode. Yeah, that's what I want. I kind of want badge placement mode to move it over. Let's go. I think on the left. Yeah, I think I like it on the left better. I don't know. Does that feel weird? Let's see that. Okay. And then we want to toggle this guy based upon that Boolean. So we're going to go a lot of tabbing. The visibility finding as update available further static resource Boolean visibility. If it has an update, it'll show, otherwise it won't. We launch this guy, make sure it works the way we expect. Oh, that is obnoxious. I think this guy has a flag on him for hiding rather than doing the content. Badge changed. Badge set. Oh, is it going to make me toggle? A little annoying. A little annoying. Add a feature. We might have to add a feature. Primary light. Tab stop. Not a. Well, I kind of just wanted to hide it. There is not a simple way of hiding it aside from way all of the content. I want to make sure that doing this, it actually gets rid of that obnoxious circle. If it doesn't, we're going to go and fix the badge control to make it a little more useful. Be a little surprised if that were the case, though. I feel like people would have yelled if that. Okay. So setting the content is yuck. Yuck. That makes me feel. That makes me not feel warm and fuzzy. Okay. Might have to go give us. The fact that I have to write this style is not making me happy. Let's see. Sign. Badge control. Based it on the default type. This is because you commented earlier, Pikachu, that you were doing Maui. This based on syntax does not work in Maui. You have to give it a style name. Holy crap, Copilot. Yes, I think that's what I wanted. If I don't want that, I want Copilot. I expect better from you now. No way that worked, right? Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say there's no way that worked. What we want to do is bring this up here. Nope, that's not right. We can just do this here. Yeah, so for if you do styles inside of Maui, the general guidance is um to always have a name style and then have an implicit style point at a name style. That way if anybody ever wants to derive from it, they have a way of doing so. Let's see what happened here. But see, Copilot, you got me trusting you, and you didn't even finish your style triggers tag. You need to finish it all. You can't type 99% of it. It doesn't count. So that goes there, and then we'll grab my good pal Snoop, and we're gonna test it real quick. Do this kind of garbage with Snoop. We go here, we go data context, and we go has update, and we go bing, boing, 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 bing, boing, bing. Very good. Good. Does mildly bother me that the foreground doesn't change. Do I care? Problem is to change it would require me to type out a full element. I care enough. I think I've just decided I'm tired of typing nested elements. We're gonna go with that for now. Coloring optional. Okay, so when the view model property changes, a little bell will pop up. So we now need this guy to do the work. So down here, we're going to go with, I'm going to change this signature up a little bit and go if is version, right? And then has, we call it update available. Oh, it's because this is static. Update available gets true. I don't know if that's that doesn't actually look that back for a moment. Undo. Um, as update available gets version not equal to null. Then we'll just do that. Then we want to break this amount of work up. I think we're going to do, I'm trying to decide how to report progress on this. Because I think that it doesn't download updates async support. I think this one has a progress. Yeah, so it does have a progress callback that it'll feed you back an int from 0 to 100. Surprised this isn't an I progress versus an action, but basically the same thing. And as you can see, it's going to favor pulling deltas unless you tell it not to. Otherwise, if there's no delta available, it'll just grab the full package. And it will grab multiple deltas if it needs to walk. Like if the user's on version 1 and you've published out versions 2, 3, and 4, it'll see that and go, oh, okay, I need to grab version 2 delta, version 3 delta, version 4 delta. Well, let's start with pulling this out. Private async task, download update. I mean, that's pretty good, Copilot, aside from the fact that you're completely wrong. I'm kind of wondering if maybe we should just cache this new version. Otherwise, we have to go and re-query it, cache it. Because it's probably easier to cache this version. Go private, update info, right? That's a good question, Victor. If the deltas exceed the size of the full update, will it switch? I don't actually know. Don't know. Let me look on here. Because it's gonna pull the delta targets here. Because you could do it yourself. I don't know if it's smart enough to do that yet or not. But the update info you get back gives you back the full release as well as the deltas. So you could always just build your own update info and drop out the deltas and just go straight, because the Velopack asset has a bunch of stuff on it, one of which is the size. So you could always just sum it up yourself. But you make a good point. Let's look. When it downloads, it's also weird that it calls it updates, even though that's kind of weird. Let's see. If updates is null, if target release is null. Let's see. Sure install, do the needful, pull the packages. Oh, look at that. Yes, it is smart enough to sum up the deltas based on size. Yeah, so it will just do the right thing for you. So if the deltas are small enough, yes. Or just pull the main package. Yeah, I can't take a lot of credit for that. Specifically, Kaylin gets all the credit there. Let's see here. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go here, here, and then we're gonna whack these two. And then what we're gonna do is down here, we're gonna get rid of this garbage. If or is null. We don't have one. We might as well jump. And then the question is, do we automatically trigger the... We were so close. Apply updates and restart. Did I miss something? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Doc page. Nope, you're in the way. Go away. Integrating overview. Quick start. That's where we are. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Apply updates and restart. Is that not what I did? I am. Oh, it's because I put in a wait and so. Okay, I'm a moron. Okay. When the method doesn't end in async, it's not an async method. Yep. See, that's how you can tell I'm a professional. I can read. There's maybe some argument that update manager should live outside of this as well, so we only initialize it once. I don't mind this. All updates async. And actually, you know what? We could go as far as we could go as far as this. Because oftentimes what apps end up doing, like even Get Kraken does this, is when there is an update available, it will just download it in the background. And then it will sit there and wait and wait until you say, and then it'll say, "Ooh, update available." Because once it's downloaded as well, if the user just ignores it and then closes the app on their own and restarts, it will repop, like it'll apply the update. That was that um, book that was up here. The what was it? Auto something 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 auto apply on startup, right? So because this defaults to true, if we download the update and the user manually just closes and relaunches the app, they get the new version. Maybe at some point we give them a hook so that they don't have to do this. We don't want the word async on something that's not async. Okay, so that goes there. Wait, get Kraken pulls before I click pull. It doesn't pull source code, but get Kraken is actually using either Squirrel or Cloud Squirrel. I can't remember which. It's using one of the two. But when there are updates available down here in the corner, what you will see happen is I'm pretty sure I don't have a new update. Yeah, you can see I'm sitting here. I'm on version 9.13. Is you will see a little green button down in this corner, down here, where it goes through and says, restart and apply update. So secretly, it downloads the update behind the scenes when it finds it, and then it just gives you the little button. And either the next time you restart the application or when you click that green button, it will apply the update and redo it. It's not pulling source code on its own. The only other thing that it does in the background is in your preferences, this auto fetch interval, it is doing a get fetch every minute. That way you can see your graph just magically update as things change without needing to actually click fetch. I usually don't have to fetch too often unless I'm like on a call with somebody like, okay, I just pushed my branch. It's like, okay, fetch because I need it. Let's see. Download updates async. Yeah. Install update. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. And then we're gonna do public, another command implementation, install update command. Again, at some point I want to switch this thing over. When I took over, the guidelines were, hey, don't show preference to one MVVM framework. The problem is that ship is kind of stale. So there's one winner, and it's not rolling your own. Actually, leave the collection expression off for the moment. Okay, but we do have install update command. What did you do? Well, you added it. No. Copilot. No. You're trying to be helpful, but that's not helpful. You're wrong. Just no. New, another command implementation. Install update. Let's see. We need it to just, because our implementation is done, we have to feed it a lambda. Okay, so it goes like that. That'll trigger the update. That'll check. This thing will do it. Now, all we have to do is, maybe we rename this to check for updates async. And maybe we give, I'm trying to decide where we do this. I'm thinking we just kind of come down here and go with check for updates async. And because we aren't awaiting this, I'm thinking what we might want to do is just, we're going to just suppress exceptions, because if we're unable to check for updates for any reason, it's like we don't care. We're just going to throw them away. Which in a WPF app, this is basically throwing your exception away. We'll do that. We could give a menu item later for it, but we'll deal with that later. Okay, so down inside of the pop-up box, we have all of this stuff. Let's see. Let's do for the separator. Let's just throw another separator in here. Separator. And then we're going to go with, oh, actually, you know what? Our command should probably be disabled unless we have an update available. We leave ourselves a nice overload. Yes, we did. So we're going to do underscore lambda and then has update available. And on our property down here, what we're going to do is we are going to say if this property changes, re-trigger the command that can execute. So this is install update command. Is it raise and execute? What is the method on refresh? Can't remember. But I had to use this. Yeah, invalidate requery suggested. That'll work. That'll work. That's way overkill, but it'll do the job. Okay, that way our menu will be disabled until it's ready to go. Okay, and we're going to do here button. Do something like a stack panel orientation horizontal. We're going to do a pack icon kind update. And then we're going to do a text block, text, install, update. Then we're going to bind the command property to our install update command and bippity boppity boo. Yeah, it work. Since we have this thing pointed at our local directory, just work. Okay. So install update. Need some margin between that icon and the text. That's way too tight. That is way too tight. Let's do something like 10. Look better. A little big. Dumb it down. Let's go 8. A little big. 4. That's better. For anybody wondering, those numbers that I picked there weren't completely random. It's fairly common to want to pick even numbers when doing sizing, to try to avoid hitting something where there's like a division happens and it tries to do subpixel rendering. So we've got that. We've got that. We can grab our snoop and we can just kind of briefly force the use case real quick. So when we have an update, poof, that shows up. Great. And now our button lights up. Great. When we don't have an update, easy test. Easy test. Okay, so let's actually try deploy running this thing because right now it's the is installed check is gonna short circuit everywhere. Not gonna necessarily work, but if we come back over here, let's see, we can publish out another release. Then if I do VPK pack, and then I want to look real quick because this thing has, yeah, we can just cheat. I don't want to have to copy and paste anymore. I'm getting tired of typing that. So, what did I call the file? DIX update. I would like my output directory to go there. Yeah. Oh, but that's a 2.0. Nope. I want to rev it. Thank you for stopping me, Velopack. You are wonderful. 2.1 or 201. boom, boom. Then I think we'll be in a good place where I may then spend a little time poking at the pipelines to just automatically upload this thing. There's going to be a bit of a question in my mind about how and when we do it, but I think for the most part, it should go quite swimmingly. Okay, so have this guy. And now if I relaunch, because remember the currently installed version doesn't have the little bell notification bit, right? So it's missing the extra menu. But in theory, it finds the update, which it did. It kills and relaunches, which is annoying. But now we've got our little button here, right? And so if hypothetically, if all I do is rev to here, right, we might want to give an option for check for updates. Maybe that's what we should do. Have that button toggled to check for updates. Because there's so much you could add once you have that update info. So you'll note I didn't make new code. I just published a new version just so we can see the thing work. Because right now the only update check that we're doing is on startup. And maybe we want to give people a button they can click too, so it's not just on startup. We'll let that guy go. That flashing's kind of annoying. So now when we launch, what we should see happen is in a moment we should see a nice little update bell trigger. Hey, look, there's my update bell. Hey, nice little update. And then we come here and we go install update. Problem is we have like I don't doubt that it works, but aside from that little you missed it. Aside from the little pop-up dialog showing me that it's installing version 202, there's literally nothing here showing us current version or any of that stuff. So it would be nice to have all of that, embedded in. But it is important to remember that there is a difference between your installer version and your application version. Like 99% of the time, you should keep those in sync. However, they may be different under certain circumstances. Like sometimes you do like 4 dot versions or whatever. There's interesting things there. Your versioning of your application actually is a little bit more free to do what you'd like than what an installer version will be, because an installer version has to do battle with what Windows wants. And so you're kind of constrained by that a little bit. But that now has working update checks. So added working update checks. You know what? I'm going to just, because future Kevin is going to forget these commands, I'm just going to copy this whole line and put it there. And then I'm going to copy this whole line and put that here. That way I don't forget about it. And that is a working Velopack installer. Off to the races and easy to go. And I think the next thing is going to be my .NET template project is probably going to get this added into it, because, and this is part of why I've been spending so much time working on Velopack, is this is the best installer I've worked with. So that, like, it's awesome. It's rare that somebody comes to me with an idea and says, "Hey, you want to help out with this idea?" And I go, "Yes, that sounds awesome." Most of the time I go, "Nah, I'm too busy. Good luck." But this one, it was like, "Yes, this thing has legs. This thing is going to get up and run." Okay. Let's get because that I wanted to do. Oh, Nikolai. Oh, he has the fixed hover issue. Okay, so I remember seeing this issue come through. For controls that leverage the existing type blocks draw on top, Technologs does not behave correctly with regard to mouse hovering. The mouse is not hovering the text box or a child thereof, but rather a sibling which just so happens to draw some content on top of the text. I'm now watching. Now that I understand. Oh, I see. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So it's the if you pay close attention to the cursor, it's because it's not actually part of it. Okay. So what's the fix? What's the fix? Oh, let's see. The PR introduces a new attached property, which the wrapper, a picker, time picker, it is mouse over state down the nested text box. Text box in terms relies on this mouse over it, whether the mouse over it or not. Ah, because the text box wants to change its knowledge based upon whether the mouse is over it, but the the date picker and time picker have a text box inside of their control, and it needs to know about if it's over any part of its parent, not just side of the embedded one. Added 2 UI tests. Yeah, so you one of the things you can notice is like the coloring of it as well. Okay. The approach makes sense. Let's see. So is mouse over? My first immediate thought is wondering if this should be internal rather than public. Guess there's no reason for it not to be public. I am wondering if perhaps it should be underneath. So an attached property is good, but I'm wondering if the attached property should be underneath some other class other than the one that we use for all of our public facing customization stuff. I'd hate for somebody to think this is a general purpose thing for them to use. Think on that. My comment is technically there. Let's see. This just forwards it down. Great. And then rather than watching his mouse over, it watches that. I think there's something missing. Oh, no, there it is. The default template watches for is mouse over and sets the attached property. Um, because we are inside of it. Got it. And then the condition changes to using that. These two leverage that. Okay, we've got a couple tests. The style date picker goes through, pulls the elements out, moves cursor over there, waits, checks the thickness because there is those small animation time in there. So I'm not surprised at needing the delays. The other thing we could do is we could just do a wait on this, like wait for border thickness. But this is one of those awkward times. So with unit tests, there's very much an idea that you should do your arrange portion, your setup, your act portion, which is the do the stuff, and then your assert portion, and those things should be separate. With UI tests, though, you can't always apply good unit testing practices because these are very much like integration or end-to-end level tests. And so it's in my mind, it's actually okay to have asserts and then waits and then do more things and then more asserts and that kind of thing. Because at a certain point, you are um, the unit tests are fast, integration tests are slow. So the same policies that work well for fast tests mean that you end up writing a bunch of slow tests if you try to apply the same rules. So this definitely works. I don't mind the delay. The only time I go and kill the delays though is if we start seeing timeouts and uh, UI tests that are rickety. But I don't think these ones will be. So this just verifies that you see that um, appropriate border thickness increase because you've got your expected thickness, which is using the constant, and that's what you expect it to be.